Judy.
Love me in London.
Hello, everybody, once again for the plays, The Thing, and today I have a wonderful man here. His name is Mick. How are you, Mick?
I'm fine. It's good to be here with you again. I'm here under a different...
Yes, you are different. Last time you were here as a magician.
That's right.
You were doing magic tricks for kids.
That's right.
And now you're doing magic tricks with the pen.
That's right. I do. That's my day job as a playwright, writer, and director. It's kind of a new sea change for me because I was in movies. I was a screenwriter for many years, and I really think that the theater is a much better place to be because we get some immediate gratification. Movies are just not made because they're so expensive. And the play, we can at least have a reading and see our children come to life. You know what I mean? In the play, you can have the feeling of what you've written.
So you lived out in the West Coast when you were a screenwriter?
I did. I was out in Los Angeles for about, I guess about 8 years.
And what type of...
I did a couple of television shows, I did a pilot, I did a made-for-TV movie, and then I became known as what is one of the millions, a rewrite man, which would be they would bring other people's work to you, and you would give it a pass and either punch up the dialogue. And that's why when you see a movie, there are like 20 writers listed, because everyone brings their own specialty. Some writers write action, some writers do love scenes, some writers do personal scenes between people.
Just all for one story?
All for one story. They bring it in to clean up the script and make each part.
I wonder how the original writer feels about that.
Terrible. And then at the end...
never the original.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Then at the end, the Writers Guild decides, depending on how much each writer contributed to the screenplay, who's going to get final credit. And people want that position because that's a money position.
So it's not very rewarding.
It's just, the writing is always rewarding, but it's so little gets produced because it's so expensive. The average movie now is $60 million. So it's just impossible. You do this writing that's so important to you, and then, because a screenplay is a sort of a bastard format. It's not meant to be read. Nobody reads them. Where a play has value in itself. And like I say, you can have a reading with some actors and you can see what you did, and it's very rewarding. Because I've done some work, as you have, for Naked Stage out here, which is Josh Pearl set it up, and Josh Gladstone, for playwrights like us to use the local actors who are excellent to do readings.
It's at the John Rue Theater, and they do it off-season.
Yes.
And I have seen something you've done a couple of months ago.
Yes. Yes, well, last year I did The World of Sholem Aleichem, which I think we have a poster of, which is by Arnold Pearl, a great classic that was done in 1953 and was actually a blacklist buster. Few people, I don't know if any of our watchers.
It's a very famous title, I remember it.
Yeah, well, it was the McCarthy era, and Arnold and Howard Da Silva, who you probably remember, a famous actor, did this play and used blacklisted writers and actors. Arnold wrote it, blacklisted, and it was sort of the beginning of off-Broadway. Arnold Pearl was sort of credited with this play of inventing off-Broadway, because they did it at a hotel and they did it low budget, but it took off and was very famous and is played all over the world, including Africa during apartheid, which during the performance there was a riot. So the government said, you can't do that play here anymore. It shows that people can be free. We don't want that.
So you did it last year at Guildhall?
Yes, at Naked Stage.
Naked Stage, as a reading.
As a reading, and then the piece that you saw just recently is Another Hurricane. I think they have and that's based on a true story.
You said hurricane?
Hurricane, yeah, another hurricane. I say it funny from
I
the
thought
South.
It was a different word.
Yeah, no, hurricane, which is a crime of passion, a true story that happened in 1934. about a man who brings a young woman into the house, and his wife becomes humiliated. And I think we have a clip as to what the wife decides is her solution.
I would love to. Yes, I see it. See, that's my head.
Three of us in this house, it isn't natural. You can have anything you want, just give me a divorce. I want to be with Dorothy. We want our own life.
I thought I understood you, Betty. Now all I do is pray, God, with everything he's got, please let him be contented.
Contented with what? Your family forced Eddie into marrying you. He never loved you, never even liked you. Now he's in love with me and I love him. If you won't divorce him, fine. You can't stop us from going together.
What the hell are you doing?
Nettie, no!
Crazy, Nettie, look what you did!
Testing. Boy, that's quite an ending there. That's when the flying saucers came in. But that's the end of the second act, and the third act goes on, and as a true story, she is convicted by a jury of 12 men, not of her peers. 12 men find her guilty, and she's going to get 24 years in prison for real. And the women of her community picket the courthouse, and the judge commutes her sentence, and she gets off. And the weird part about it is she stays with her husband, and they live together for another 30 years after that whole incident.
You just gave away the whole story, the whole plot.
Well, that's okay. Somebody's got to know about it. But that's what it's about. And I had good actors. I had the leads were Molly McKenna, who you know, who was also in The World of Shalom Aleichem that I did. Joe Desane, who played the husband. Maren Anders, who played the femme fatale. Randy Lee Handler was in it.
Laura Engel.
Laura Engel was in it. Tanya Taverow was in it.
Yeah, Tanya Taverow.
What's Aronson?
The man who played the old man?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know him.
He's very good. He's a very good friend of mine, and a magician also.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, he's moving to Florida, and I'm losing my mentor.
Oh.
For magic, anyway. And he's a good actor. He actually did Fiddler on the Roof at Town Hall. But so that's basically it. Those are the two plays that I've done.
Well, they were it was very well done.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It was very exciting.
You need to look at some. You got some angels to come.
Yes.
And to watch it.
Angels with big pocketbooks and lots of money. But you're a playwright and have done some wonderful work and some work at Naked Stage as well, and you mentioned you were doing something at the Y with your famous
this summer,
crayon play with children. I've seen it.
Yes,
it's lovely.
I have. There were several readings of that, and also a couple of schools had done that as a play, and it's very entertaining, and it's nice for the kids. So we go
involving kids in theater is incredibly important, especially now that video games have taken over the minds of kids. For us to get them back into the theater is so important because they miss so much of the nuance of life and drama, because those video games are pretty grody things. Are you writing something new? Are you writing something new now?
I have started, but when I say I'm writing, it doesn't mean I labor at the typewriter hour after hour.
Unfortunately, I do. As a matter of fact, I don't know if we have time for this, but I'm working on a play, and it's been very hard for me. I've been working on this play for about 20 years because it's sort of autobiographical, and it's very hard. So I had to wait. This is kind of sad in a way. I had to really wait. I was writing it. My mom passed away last year. My mother died. And my brother is my father died 10 years ago, and my brother is very, very ill. God bless his soul. And so I was freed up to write this thing about my family, which I call Strange Love, because we had a family relationship where my mother was deeply involved with my brother, not sexually in any way, because he was the artist and the pianist, and she wanted him to be, she wanted to be a stage mother with him and him to be famous, and I was going to be the doctor or the dentist. So I was over here, just the doctor, the dentist, and he was the star of the family, and psychologically that can have an effect when one child is favored over the other. And after years of therapy, I realized, golly, that sort of happened to me, and that's when I started this, and I broke it up into to 3 sections. Can I read just a touch of it?
Okay,
just a little bit.
Do, yes.
It's very easy. Lights up, a man in his 50s sits at a desk writing on an old typewriter. A casket with the red velvet curtains behind him evokes the aura of a funeral parlor. The man, he says, we were only a year apart. We were inseparable. We thought in sync, laughed at the same unspoken jokes, and goofed on the same people. He was my life, but he drove me crazy. He was the magician, my mother's star in residence. She adored him and overlooked the signs of his slow but nonetheless impending doom. I was the boring, pragmatic science wonk, and it was expected that I would be a dentist like my Uncle Winston. But I watched my brother approach stardom, nearly get there. Then I watched him crash and burn through alcohol and drugs, but not before he hurt me many, many times. And that goes into the story of the brothers. And the next one, then the episode 2 is my father, which is called Kick the Cane. I won't read this. My father always said to me, he was sort of a basic, plain, gruff guy. He said, you'll never be able to take me in a fight unless I'm walking with a cane and you kick that cane out from under me. And then I watched him die of cancer, and his story is about one night I was visiting them, and I heard like a big splashing sound. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I heard somebody going like, oh, oh, and I got up, and I went in the bathroom, and there was my father in the bathtub. He was very ill at the time on chemotherapy. He had gotten into the bathtub because he had no concept of time, and he couldn't get out. And I went in there, and he looked up at me and said, oh, God, Mick, thank God you're here. Thank God I have such a big, strong son. Help me, please. And here was my father who had said, you're going to take me, you kick the cane. And it was the chemotherapy and the cancer that finally kicked the cane out from under him. But it was, I helped him out of the bathtub, dried him off, and put him back to bed. And then I went back to bed and cried myself to sleep. So that's the father part of it. The mother part of it I haven't really dealt with yet.
So are you trying to make a play out of it? It's a
play. This is sort of, I start with an outline, which I do write a monologue. I write a very long monologue, and then I go through the monologue and see what can be dramatized, see what characters come out of the monologue, and then write the play from the monologue. Oh. It just helps. It's like an outline.
That's good.
It helps me quite a bit.
Because the play I'm writing, it's also part of my life. I just don't know how to end it. Because I don't want to write my whole life story in there. It's just a part of it. And
well, maybe we can. I could read it and maybe give you some notes, and I could give you, and you could give me notes, and we could.
Oh, that would be. This could be the start of a wonderful friendship.
Because I was very lucky. I was very lucky this year because of another hurricane. A friend of mine, Horty Carpentier. Do you know Horty?
No.
She's a playwright also. She's a member of the Bay Street workshop done by Bill Buford. He's sort of the director who runs the workshop.
Yes,
they invited me to join, and I've been going there, and it's been incredibly helpful. He's a wonderful mentor, and I've been able to read part of this, and it's just given me even more confidence because they have a group.
So how old were you? What would you say when you wrote your first play. When did you decide to write plays?
Well, I started to write plays, interestingly enough, because my agent in California said, hey, look, it's really getting hard to sell screenplays because every 13-year-old boy or girl are not just writing screenplays with this new video equipment, they're doing feature films. So when they come to an agent, they're not just showing you a screenplay, they're saying, here's the 2 films, feature films that I've done, will you represent me and help me get a Hollywood deal? So he said, for guys like you, and what he meant was old guys like me, because it's an age system out there, he said, take your screenplays that you like and change them into plays. Because the studios are much more impressed. If a screenplay comes in, they'll say, ah, another screenplay. But if a play comes to them, they're not very smart people anyway. They'll say, oh, a play, yeah. A play. Wow, plays are important. Let's option this play and get them to write it as a screenplay and we'll make a movie. Now here's something I had written as a screenplay, then I rewrote it as a play, and they optioned it. You know, I've had this happen twice with 2 plays. As a matter of fact, Another Hurricane, the play that you saw, was originally a screenplay. And then I wrote it as a play, and now I'm much happier with it as a play. So.
Well, that's funny because one of the plays that I had written, Oh, Gregory,
I read that play. I love that play.
It was a short story first, and I developed it into a play.
Well, that's sort of the way that you work, sort of the way that I do then, is to...
Yeah, but the other one that I'd written, the musical, I was inspired. And I had written the music also, and I had written the songs, and then I filled in the words.
Did you do the music as well?
Yes.
So you are a musician?
Yes, in a way. Yes, I do. I love the piano.
And you play it? Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
I just started taking piano lessons at the Harbor Music Shop.
Yes.
You know the Andrew brother?
Yeah, I know Andrew.
Andrew Baker's the boys. He's a wonderful teacher, and in the last 6 weeks, I now can almost play chords on the piano. It's so exciting.
Great, yes.
So maybe I'll think of doing a musical someday, but I don't think so. It's very hard, as you know. Don't you think it was hard writing that musical?
No.
Well, you're...
No, I mean, you know, I didn't struggle over that. It just came out of me.
Wow.
It just did. As a matter of fact, a little play that I'm going to do with the children, I'm writing like 3 songs into it.
That's great.
Easy songs for little kids to learn.
Well, that's wonderful because as we were talking before, it's very important to get kids involved in the theater. And if you get them very young with a vehicle like the one you have, you can actually get them to know what the animal is, which is, you know, the stage. Because kids like to make believe and play anyway. That's what their whole world is. So if they can realize that there's an outlet for real, which is the stage, maybe they'll be the next generation. Because we can't carry this ball forever.
No. Do you know that there is a new theater company out here? It's called something like the Springs.
I heard about it. Were they the ones who did South Pacific?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I had two of the actors here in my show.
They did a pretty good job. I enjoyed watching that.
Yes, I went to see it too. And the 2 leads, the man and the female, Nellie Forbush, and I forget what the captain's name was, the one with the plantation. They were here. Oh,
terrific! Also,
they're looking for new plays.
There was an actress producer who you know, Minerva Sclera.
Yeah.
She just did a series of plays from one playwright at Guild Hall these last couple of weekends.
I missed it, yes.
One of the plays which is sort of a taboo subject, but I'll say it anyway. It was about penal enlargement. It was a comedy.
Oh.
And it was so funny.
Yeah.
You know, this guy was doing this as a present for his wife. And it's, do you know the O. Henry story, The Gift of the Magi?
Oh, with the hair
and the comb, and then she cuts her hair, and this was sort of a weird version of a gift of the Magi. But it was very good, and she had this guy who Minerva had was very, very talented. Good
the guy?
The playwright.
The playwright.
He's written, I can't remember his name, but he's written screenplays and a lot of plays. He's pretty well known in the city. But since I'm just only been involved in the theater for the last 5 years, I'm just getting caught up.
How long have you been out here in the Hamptons?
I have been here full-time for about, I would say, 18 years. I have an apartment in the city, and I worked in the city. I had a production company. I directed television commercials. My wife produced them. And then we sold the company because we'd had enough, and we came out here, and our children took the apartment immediately. They said, it's our apartment now, but they are paying for it themselves, which is very nice. But my eldest stepdaughter and the guy she's living with, and my lovely grandson, 11-year-old Griffin Emil Jennings, who is the love of my life, and my granddaughter, Molly Cass. They live right across the street from each other, and I'm fortunate when they come out. But they did take the apartment. And Nancy and I sometimes wanted to go into the city to see a show or something, and now we have to go to the Algonquin, which is a fortune.
You can't stay? There's not enough room to stay there?
No, it's not a good idea to stay with kids.
Even for one night?
For 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Especially, I mean, they have small apartments and they have kids, and they really need every bit of space they have. And Nancy and I are set in our ways, and we love room service.
Uh-huh. And where were you born?
I was born in Baltimore, Maryland.
And then from there you ventured to New York.
Then I went to New York,
Los Angeles, and
then now I'm back. Then I was back to New York, where I started my commercial company, and then sold that, and then came out here. And mostly what I did when I was out here was write and do magic for children, because I love children so much. And the magic thing turned into a real job, and it was cutting into the writing. So I had to sort of make a decision of
So what is it that you would like to do here? Would you like to start a new company, or?
Well, what I would really like to do is learn as much about the theater as I can, because as I say, it's a sea change for me, and a good one. And there's a lot of good people out here. Josh Gladstone, wonderful mentor, very good guy. Josh Pearl, who has started Naked Stage. Great outlets and good actors, very good actors. So I'm in a learning process in that aspect of it. But I still want to make that feature film.
Well, how about, did you ever think about making your own film? Learning how to use a camera.
Yep, I've done that. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, that's how I got into film. My father bought me one of those Brownie 8mm movie cameras, and instead of taking pictures of the family, my brother and I made little stories. And that's pretty much how I got interested in film. And then I became a film editor in New York for documentaries, and I did a documentary called Malcolm X that was nominated for an Academy Award. Spike Lee bought the documentary and made his Denzel Washington movie, which was wonderful.
And but you don't have a camera now.
I do. I have what everybody has. I have a video camera, I have a computer with an editing setup, I have a little recording studio, all in my little office. So I actually have everything I need to make a movie.
Really?
But still, even when you do it that way, you're either asking a lot of favors of actors mostly, but you still need a couple of bucks to do a feature film, you know.
No, I didn't mean a feature. You could make like a short.
Well, I've done 5 or 6 shorts.
Did you?
And I won some festivals too.
You won them?
Won some festivals. I won the Atlanta Film Festival. This was a while. This was about 15 years ago. I won a 2nd prize at the Atlanta Film Festival. I had a film that won at the American Industrial Film Festival. Did anyone ever write a story about you?
A feature story.
The Star has written a story about me, and Joanne Pilgrim did a series called Working, and then for this play that I just did, Another Hurricane, a fine reporter from the Southampton Press did
Oh, that's a wonderful.
story.
The director there he was on my show too. He's an actor himself.
Karen, is it?
No, it's a man.
A woman interviewed me for this, and she was very, very savvy, and really helped me express myself in the story. And it was nice to see a picture of me holding my play and a little bit of my history in the Southampton Press. So I thought I had articles in the Star. And
well, how come Dan never did a story on you?
I don't know. I used to do his beach, you know, that kite beach party thing that he used to do every year on the beach. I used to do magic for that in trade for advertisements. For, you know, the Mystic Mickey, the magician, and then so I would work for him for free, and he'd give me free advertising. But he's never.
I guess he just doesn't know how wonderful and talented you are.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
He was on my show too, you know.
So what you should do is to send him 5,000 telegrams telling him how wonderful we are, and then he can write a story about the two of us.
Well, would you believe that the half hour is up? We could go on and on and on. Well, we have a lot in common.
It's so wonderful to talk to you. I feel like I'm in your living room or whatever it is, and we're just talking over old times. You make a person feel very comfortable.
Thank you. Thank you. So I always don't forget to tune in. The play's the thing. We are shown many other places besides here. And we're going to say bye. Bye, everybody.